I'm
There we go.
we
All
got
right.
oh, hi,
Hap-
Lenny. How are you?
Hi, Karen. I'm good. How are you? You've been busy. You've been running. You just came from IX Health and now
Yeah,
jumping on here.
technically still happening right now. So as soon as we're done here, I'll fly back over there and get the report of what I missed. So, but what a great event. It's wonderful to talk about the patient experience. For anybody who's had, any kind of personal connection to health stories or patient stories, it's just one that you pay attention to. And I know you can relate as well. So
Yep, absolutely. And look at you just multitasking all
oh
over the
yes.
place. So I mean, even wearing the jacket. So
I know my professional jacket. So don't be fooled. There are yoga pants happening down there. So.
keeping it real on the
Keeping it
exchange.
real, keeping it real.
All right, so we have for a lot to cover as always,
Yeah.
and a special guest
Dun, dun, dun.
at
Yeah,
our last 5 minutes. So we have to cover not just 30 minutes, our usual goal, but we got to cram everything into 25
yeah.
minutes.
We are for
So
something new. So stick around the whole time, folks,
yes,
because you'll like this. It's fun what we're about to show you. So we're
yeah,
excited about that. Yeah, but first, can we cover some like winners? Because it's always good to I love celebrating people first, as we've done in
yes,
the past. And there's a couple of folks to celebrate today. So those of you who know, I'm a QRCA member at heart, probably forever and always. But they announced a couple of awards. Actually, they have a lot of awards. We're not covering all of them, but at their annual conference, which took place last week in Denver, won the Lloyd J Scholarship Fund winners. And if you had the opportunity to know Lloyd Harris, you will know that he was an amazing human being. Lenny and I were talking before the show that he was a friend of mine and a friend to almost everybody in the industry, Lenny as well, and just a kind man who um, was passionate about elevating the perspectives of communities who had historically not been heard in market research. So this scholarship is in honor of him, who left us a little bit too soon. And this year's winners, we want to just shout out to you, Gabriela Rosser from Vital Insights and Mariana Melovega from SSRS. So congratulations to you both. I am sure you do Lloyd proud.
absolutely.
I say with a little bit of a lump in my throat.
Go,
So
go, go take a hike in his honor. He would
yeah.
love.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yes, for sure. And then also, we want to announce the winner of the Quali Award. So, if you have any idea what the Quali Award is, right? If you know, you know. But it's always been the session at the conference that inspires everybody because people submit to it like actually a proposal, or it's evolved quite a bit, and it's inspiring to all of the other qualitative researchers who technically are competition to the winners on some level.
Mm.
But it's so inspiring to see great presentation decks or great report decks. It's just the best of the best really submit and then are elevated at the conference and a winner is chosen. And what they've done to evolve this particular award is turned it into, okay, how about we make it a pro bono effort as well, where a dollar amount is awarded to a local charity. So it's evolved into such a great event. So this year's winning team is Anya Zadrazny. If you know Anya, she's Anya Z Media. She's not just a qualitative researcher, but a whiz at like video post-production. She's also an avid QRCA volunteer, so she's fabulous to work with. And Sydney Jansen's from Factor. And so kudos to the both of you. I just look forward to seeing what you do next and tracking you, because the Quality Award is really like, one that everybody in the QRCA like understands and admires the winners for. So congratulations, for real.
Absolutely. And I'll add my little perspective, not necessarily on the awards, but the importance of, we showcase QRCA and qualitative research so much on this show, because I think we are absolutely entering the golden age of qualitative research. It's scaling, it's becoming much more accessible. The skill sets that qual researchers have in asking good questions and drawing insights, that is the future of research. So I will encourage you all, if you think I'm a quant guy, that's great, or girl, sorry. The qualitative skill set will increasingly become more and more and more important to folks that work within insights and analytics. And there's no better place to learn that and engage with those folks than QRCA.
And yeah, I think Christopher's chiming in. Yes, the QRCA definitely posts about all of that. Plus, there's a lot of fun post-event pictures, which, we're fans of a good event. So, yeah, check it out. Lots of LinkedIn posts. And like I said, the winners, connect with them, follow them. They are the real deal across the board. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, so shout out, and now we'll move on to some platform advancements. Like again, friends, we have so many to talk about each week. So we try to bring you what crosses our paths throughout the course of any given week. And you can always send things to us so that we don't miss it at the exchange at greenbook.org. But yeah, let's talk about some of these that popped up this week. Which do you want to start with? You want to start with the Logic Group?
Yeah, let's start with the Logic Group. I mean, this, and I will put some perspective for y'all, right? Logic Group started as a phone shop, and that's still a big bulk of, not a bulk, but they still do an awful lot of phone work.
Yeah.
They have evolved, they have adapted, they have innovated. No surprise, guess what they launched this week, right? It's called Question IQ, your AI-powered market research companion. And tools designed to revolutionize data collection in real time. Did not get a chance to take a look at that, but certainly shout out to Logit. They continue to be an example of this company that a few years ago you would look at and say, what? And they're kicking ass and taking names and staying ahead of the curve. And AI is central to that.
Yeah, worth shout out to North America, right? Worth coming to North America, because they will, of course, be there in a prominent location. That's one of our very, very valued sponsors, title sponsor, I believe, right? They're the real deal. So
second year in a row. Yes,
check them out, and so come to North America, check them out, and I'm sure you'll see firsthand this particular platform.
Yep, driving innovation. Then you caught the thematic.
And this was really interesting. All of these AI platforms, so Thinamic, it's Answers AI is the name of their platform, and they're all really interesting at how good they're getting. So if I think about the ones that were launched pretty quickly last year, it's like, but now you look at them, the user interfaces are getting good. And I think that's what caught my mind about this one, is I was like, oh yeah, I could actually see that, the ease of use to get at these customer insights from, piles and piles of data. So, hats off to that organization. Check it out. It's pretty cool.
Yep. I mean, and this is, it's the kind of the next generation of text analytics where we always thought it would, we wanted to get to, but it was kind of a pain in the butt, and it was within the research space. Not anymore. Actually, we should tell the story real quick of what you did this morning in prepreparation for this as an example of Lenny, how sophisticated these technologies are.
All right. So, what's interesting, I told everybody that I was at IAX Health this morning and, facilitating fireside chat, and was really pressed for time. And I'm like, I have to take all of our curation from the week and turn it into a brief that Lenny and I can wrangle and share with you in a way that makes sense. So it's, one part curation happens all week long. And then there's the synthesis that happens Friday mornings to make sure that we tell a cohesive story. And because I was pressed for time, that there's something about necessity being the mother of all invention, I needed to have some help wrangling all of our curation. And I just said, hey, ChatGPT, can you help me wrangle? Because I felt desperate. And sure enough, hadn't used it in that way before for this show. And it really said, here are some themes. Here's how you can cluster your content and tell a story. It just is, like my best friend when it comes to work projects. So if you are not already using it to solve your personal work challenges, that's the first entryway, right? Like next time you hit a pain point, just say, how might ChatGPT help me with this? And see what's possible.
Yeah, let's we'll circle back around, because we were talking beforehand of this. We're going to beat a horse, dead horse here in a minute. But
we did beat a horse. Maybe we'll just have to find a horse and literally start. I don't mean a real horse, friend.
Not a real horse. I think my girls. I think we still have like a Barbie horse around here somewhere. I'll just have to dig it up. Then outside of the industry again, Hurry, a pinboard for analytics. It uses AI to centralize data from lots of different data sources and streams and put it all in one place that you could easily manipulate. So it's knowledge management, it's content curation, it's data curation. And it makes it appears to make that very simple. We actually shared it internally in our leadership team of, is this, can this be useful for us as publishers of lots of different information and data sources? And we use what's the platform we use all the time that I hate to use?
Which one?
Of
all of
Notion.
Notion is so easy. Also, it's so
I know. I'm a Luddite, but I don't want to learn something new. But but Notion, we use that because it's really easy to collect stuff and put it there. This takes it a step further with data sources.
And I mean, I think my primary experience was with like Power BI, like that, like workhorse of an analytics platform, which is completely over my head. And every time I saw it, I'd be like, I am checking out because I can't. But this was something that I was like, oh, this is actually approachable. If a platform can be approachable, something that I could see getting my head around, somebody who doesn't live in, a stats world or have that kind of analytics mindset. I was like, this makes it much easier. So anyway, hats off to them too.
Yeah. And my thought for, use this as an example for the industry, brands want to synthesize information, have it all together, right? In platforms like this, is your example, there's Power BI, which is going to be integrated and already is with, the GPTs, but other solutions, research platforms. This is the type of stuff that we should be looking at doing ourselves and integrating with, because if, my go-to example always is P&G. If P&G says, all right, well, we're going to use Hurry, and I don't know that they're doing that, I'm just an example, then we need to know how to integrate with them in some form or fashion to make that easy. So we really do need to pay attention to these type of solutions for our own purposes, as well as for where our clients may be asking us to go.
Yeah. And I'm going to just sort of jump ahead a little bit, but pay attention to what the big players are doing. And I think that that's, to your point, yes, we all pay attention to P&G and what P&G might be doing, but there are other big players in the industry who are investing in certain ways, and the smaller people or smaller businesses should just kind of pay attention and say, okay, if they're putting, for instance, Publicis, if they're investing, 300 million euros in AI, so spoiler alert, that's something we were about to talk about, which if you're here in the US, because I was like, let me just double check, we're talking about $300 million, the equivalent of, over 300 million US dollars too, but they are investing that much in AI across their organization. And I just think, okay, what does that tell everybody else?
Yep. Well, so let's go back to the point we were going to make. So I feel bad I've not had a chance to dive into the grit crosstabs yet. I think we will see some of this here, but we're hearing anecdotally through some recent events that there's still an awful lot of skepticism and reticence. And I'm going to go on a soapbox just for a second. I remember the days when all these internet surveys, who's going to do that?
Right.
Or mobile surveys, who's going to do that? Social media, what? Guys, the adoption curves on those technologies, which utterly have transformed our industry in a variety of ways, at the very least in form factor and audience and business models, it took 10 years for online surveys to become the dominant model from telephone. It took about 5 or 6 years, and we're still fighting it for mobile. We missed the boat on social entirely. We had that opportunity. Those were slow rates of adoption. They seemed fast at the time. It's nothing compared to what we're seeing now. And we cannot have our head in the sand. This is this is the most disruptive technology in my lifetime. And if you are not doing even the easy stuff that Karen was talking about, right, on implementing efficiencies within your internal workflows, let alone the impact on insight, on data collection, analysis, synthesis, and insight generation, which is really where these things can shine, especially for unstructured data, you're going to get caught with your pants down if they're not already. They're probably halfway to your ankles now. We can't wait. You must begin the experimentation and implementation of these things. You can start small, but this snowball is only getting bigger by the day.
So, we mentioned this Publicis article, and Tim Lynch.
Oh, hello, Tim.
No conflict of interest there at all with reading this out loud, right? The Publicis statement was that 50% of that spend is on upskilling their people. So I mean, how's that for it too? That is the other kind of, if you are a CEO, founder, if you are, leading HR, if you are a manager, make sure your people have this skill. And again, I'm going to jump again. Oh my gosh. So not only did we jump to the publicist story, but now I'm going to jump again to another resource for everybody, which is this SHRM playbook, because I want to cover these two things and give it context, maybe, Lenny, before we talk about the platforms. The this PDF from SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resource Management, on managing AI and privacy in the workforce. It is a great resource. It talks in it 6 trends, AI trends that you need to know. And I skimmed the first one. I'm like, yeah. But the second one, which was the workplace will naturally select the AI curious. And I'm like, okay, that's really important. I want everyone to hear that and think, get AI curious if you are not already AI curious. So I loved that phrasing. And then also, AI needs to work for your business. Stop thinking of it as a threat, even though that's one of them that it does threaten. But think of it as, this is a tool, this is a resource. And anyway, it's great stuff in that PDF. So yeah, sorry I jumped ahead, Lenny, but I just wanted to go there because I think that upskilling is really important. Upskilling is really important. So I'm glad Tim called that out. It's what we have to do. We have to develop a curiosity for it, and then we have to develop the skills to use it. And then, of course, keep tracking our exposure to it, because the platforms are getting better and better.
Yes. And goes back to, the comment around why qualitative skill sets are important.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise that you have been such an early adopter, right? Because you're good at asking questions, which is what prompt engineering is. And you're, the end product is synthesizing information. And we all need to have those skills.
And I am highly curious, because when you've made a career out of asking questions, it's not a coincidence that you are also a curious human being, because that I am curious about these things. So I don't know what's driving what, but that curiosity is bringing me to these places.
There's also one more point on that, and then we'll get to the value graphics. I think this is important too. I was chatting with my buddy James Wilson, co-founder of Vericlef. We were catching up this past week, and he's a developer, right? And we were talking about some other stuff that was going on, and it's like, last weekend I just got in ChatGPT and created this whole new platform in a weekend.
Yeah,
literally. And he manages a dev shop. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a dev community, and he's like, why this? And it would have taken 6 months, $500,000 2 years ago to develop what he literally did in a weekend.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind too. It's not the efficiencies from we can gain for writing new code, creating new technology, yada yada yada. All of those things. There are so many pragmatic benefits. And to your point, it's change.
Yeah.
Change is scary.
And I just want to build on what you're saying. It's an amazing skill set he has, right? So each year I'm a WIRE Women in Research mentor for, every single time it's been, women who are new to the industry. They all happen to be in their 20s. Anyway, my 2023 mentee set out at the start of the year. She works for a very large research company, and she wanted to grow her coding skills. So she, not for work, but she self-taught herself how to code last year without that kind of a background, because she recognized that, yes, I'm getting my research skills, but I also want to know the basics about coding. And I just thought, now the whole time I've been like, that is fascinating that there's a generation of employees coming up that know the skills they're going to benefit from in the future. And hats off to her. I'm keeping her anonymity in check here, but it's just this idea that she's upskilling herself. So if you're not going to upskill your employees, young up and comers are going to upskill themselves because they want to put to work what they're thinking. Anyway, just a little side.
Well, one of the things that jumped out, I think this is important too. A article, Making Marketing Better, How Values Are Disrupting Demographics, the shift from demographics to values-based marketing. And what occurred to me was and we've talked about it before, as the synthesis of who, what, when, where, and how of data all comes together. The big gap is why. And we look at those motivational factors, that we tend to bucket it, or I do. I call it kind of behavioral science, right? And
Yeah.
under behavioral science, there's, our emotions, but also our values,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. And I know for a fact, I mean, there are several brands working with on the Gen 2 side that they're changing their entire frame of reference for all of their marketing and insights organization, uh, with a focus on putting behavioral science at the core of everything that they do, including this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this value graphics uh, model is kind of, putting that in as how we would look at next to psychographics,
Right.
next to demographics.
Right.
I think it's a very important concept, and something that will probably drive changes in methodology and technologies that we use as well
Yeah.
to get there. And now we'll jump ahead one more time. So I'm sure everybody saw the announcement from Neuralink of the
For sure.
implants.
I don't know if you should be so sure that everybody tracks the way you and I track, but
Well, maybe not, but
spell it out
supposedly,
for them.
Neuralink is Elon's other, his like umpteenth business. It was designed for health purposes, right? He was trying to solve a problem for people that have to kind of bypass neurological issues that impact neuromuscular, et cetera, and help people get mobile. And it's integrated with AI and blah 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 blah. Right? It's an implant in the brain.
No,
That's scary. This is like Matrix stuff, right?
I know. I know. And I think that's what struck me about it too, is I was like, that is about as sci-fi as I have ever imagined. That implant in the brain so that your brain can interact with the computer without human reasoning, but with what's going on at an implicit level in the back of your head. I don't, yeah,
Right.
too much.
Right. I don't think everybody's going to walk around and get implants in their skull. But let's recognize this
How did they choose the
technologies.
person? How did they choose the first human? That's what I really should do.
They volunteered, right? I mean, like clinical
Yeah, but
trials.
how did that is something that yes, okay, volunteer, but they had to have some criteria for what this
Sure.
person's brain makeup needed to be before they just let the computers learn directly from it.
I don't know, but here's the thing. I don't think we actually linked on this, but Apple, did they launch their new headset this week? I
Yeah,
think
they launched and they sold quite a bit. I
I
think
saw they
they
sold out.
pretty high sales. They're not sure about, I think they're going to saturate the market for that product pretty quickly. I think it's still too expensive to go anywhere
Yeah,
near
it's what,
mainstream.
$4,000?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, thank you. Thank you, Carly. And of course it comes with a whole lot of privacy issues, which doesn't surprise us one bit. Don't you remember when, like, again, we talk about Google Glass all the time, like that came up and I'm like, that is such an invasion of people's privacy that you can be like walking around. And anyway, so it's a scary concept, but
Right.
yeah. All right, Apple, we'll keep learning from you.
Well, same thing with the pen, right? But where I was going with that is now these wearable. It's another iteration. And I'm not going to bet against Apple.
Yeah.
And you include those sensors. So it may not be implanted into your brain directly through your skull, but there will be sensors that detect. I'm sure, just like your Apple Watch, et cetera, has
I got
components.
the Aura Ring. Finally, we'll talk about that another week.
The Aura Ring. Then you finally got it. Good job, Tim. We're going there. So emotional understanding, values, emotions, these deeper levels of motivational factors for humans. The technology is becoming scalable. It's being integrated, and the way we think about conducting research, it's a perspective that we need to incorporate in. All right, I know we've got 2 minutes before our special guest comes
2
on.
minutes before our special guest, but I do think we should
Yes.
just kind of, add one more link to this conversation, and then we can call it a wrap. This week, new requirements for AI developers to disclose safety tests came out, the U.S. government, and
Yes.
hats off. That's a big deal because we're going to have some transparency with safety tests for some of this AI work. So AI companies to report safety tests to the U.S. government. So I think there's some hope for rank keeping the safety first and foremost in people's minds, and for wrangling some of the unknowns that we all have. So I'm anxious to see actually what is shared with the people, but at least there's an oversight committee happening.
Yes.
Look at all that.
Yes.
So.
All right, and we can actually get into what we got everything except for one. And it's a little bit of backtracking. We saw another new product called Solatus AI for analysts. Now, this is more of a secondary research, really more designed probably for financial markets, or even the type of work that I do sometimes of understanding kind of macro dynamics and within a category, et cetera, et cetera. Another example though of a very pragmatic tool that we could deploy in doing foundational research and thinking about new brand innovation, those type of things, competitive intelligence, lots of tools like all that emerging, driven by AI, and as simple as what you did this morning and saying, hey, summarize all these links that we've thrown into Slack on our channel, and does it in what that took seconds.
Seconds. I mean, it's seconds, and then you have to massage it, and you have to say, I'm not sure if that's a logical flow, but I like it. Thank you so much. And it streamlines what could take me an hour into 5 minutes, and then 15. An hour and a half task takes 15 minutes. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. So.
All right.
Yeah, cool.
So let's bring in our guests.
Pragmatic tools.
Yes.
I think the exchange could be a pragmatic tool. So let's bring in our guest.
Let's do that.
Hi,
Dana
guys.
Stanley.
How are you?
Dana, how are you?
Good. Thanks for inviting me on the show. I think I might be the first ever guest on the exchange.
You are. And
Okay.
what a perfect first ever guest to have.
That's a source of
Absolutely.
pride.
It's episode 27, right? I think around our 27th episode this week.
Yes.
Yes. So you are the first.
Well, big fan. I'm honored.
Well,
So thanks for inviting me. I wanted to come on and talk about the fact that this little show is growing up, and so we are officially looking for a sponsor for the exchange. And so I figured, what better way than to take it directly to the exchange heads? Isn't that what you call your audience?
I don't know. We haven't yet. I guess we're exchangers. The exchangers.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to you on that.
Maybe the sponsor can name them.
There you go.
Exactly. So just some initial thoughts. We're looking for a brand that has values consistent with the exchange and with Green Book. So, that values innovation, cares about the market research industry, supports the exchange of ideas. So if that's you, definitely get in touch with me. We're thinking what you get is, you associate your brand with the exchange, which is a growing property, of course. Something like the exchange supported by XYZ company. You get your logo on the videos, which live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Promotion in our marketing, and there could be other benefits. I mean, reach out to me and let's discuss. But and the way to get in touch with me is via email at dstanley@greenbook.org or via my Calendly link, and that's in the graphic below. Thanks, Carly.
Very cool. And we could do something like this, right? I think all things are on the table, right? That's
Definitely.
the cool part about becoming an early sponsor of a new product. You can help us experiment to deliver value for you.
Definitely. We love to get creative.
We do. That's like we just did. And should mention, I think so although we launched this on LinkedIn, I think we've said in the past, what we have found is our audience is the real growth is coming via YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're reaching lots of different people and new people, I believe, through YouTube, and as an always on playback. It's pretty cool. The metrics for this are pretty exciting, actually.
It is very exciting. I agree.
Yeah. So shoot Dana an email. And
sounds good.
And like and subscribe.
Yes. Oh, yes. And because if you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit that notification button. I think that's the
it's the best, though.
We're even playing with some ideas on that too. It's too early to talk about it, but we were like, what can we do to help promote and kind of sweeten for people to kind of do the whole like and subscribe thing? So stay tuned. We may do some cool things with that as well.
Well, get in touch with me and we can start a conversation.
Absolutely. And wow, that's it. We covered all of that and made room for our special guest.
Covered all that and made room for Dana. So yes, Dana, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thanks.
It was good to have you here. And I guess to everybody else, thank you for joining Lenny and I as we do what we do each week. As we have said before, this is truly fun for us, and we hope it brings value to you.
Yeah, no zingers this week. We'll have to. I didn't stick my foot in my mouth. I'll have to work on that for next week. So
yeah, bring your A game next time. All right.
I will. I will. So Everybody, thank you so much. Have a great, wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you again next Friday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.